Before we begin, I just want to give a disclaimer that I will be spoiling all of Eternals. So if you have not have watched Eternals, go and watch Eternals. Despite my complaints of the movie, I think the movie is a fine comic book movie. So without further ado, enjoy the video. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone. It's your boy Mrs. Degenerate. Back at it again for another fucking video. Holy hell. I know what you're all thinking. Holy shit, Mr. Degenerate's fucking alive? Wow, what the fuck? Where the fuck have you been, bro? Bro, I was with your mom last night and I was out here slaying all these aunties, alright? Fuck what you heard, bro. Got a new ass body, and I'm here trying to slay every single auntie I can find. All seriousness though, I've been fucking busy with work and schools. Alright? Like work and school is the only thing I know. I have no social life. And it fucking sucks. But I finally took the time to go see a movie and just relax. And I finally took the time to see a Marvel movie, which is Eternals. And holy shit, after watching the movie, I can completely understand why so many people are dividing on the movie. I can completely see why so much of the critics have given this a low score. I can see if people walk out of the movie thinking this was the worst MCU movie or the fucking best MCU movie they've ever seen. Because at the end of the day, I think it lies in the middle. Ambitious, interesting Marvel movie I've ever watched. And I give Chloe Zhao, the director, tons of props for what she did. However, this movie reminds me of another comic book movie. In particular, a Zack Snyder comic book movie. Do you know which one I'm talking about? I think you do. It reminds me of Batman v Superman. And before everyone get your pitchforks, before every Marvel fan screams to the fucking sun, listen, motherfuckers. Listen. This movie and Batman v Superman are both ambitious comic book movies. Because they're both trying to say something big about comic book movies. They're not trying to be traditional comic book movies at all. And I just felt like Chloe Zhao was really trying to do a lot of what Zack was doing for the DC comic books. Same thing, and doing it with Marvel. However, due to the fact that part of the MCU, the movie did not have time to fully develop its bigger ideals. I don't know if it's because of writing, or I don't know if it's just having that fucking time, but that's how it goes. So, how we're going to do this video? Pretty simple. I'm going to talk about the things I liked, and then I'm going to talk about the things I disliked. Things I liked about this movie. I thought the scope of this movie was fucking phenomenal. Like, this movie, I said it before and I'll say it again. This is the most ambitious Marvel movie. Because the scope of this shit is so fucking huge. The scope of Endgame was huge. No, motherfucker. I think this takes it to the whole new level. Like, the scope, and it's the way how this movie feels. This movie feels like, one, it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie at all. For the most part. And two, this movie feels like a comic, like you're reading a comic book, a cosmic comic book. Like anybody who's ever read like a Green Lantern comic book from Marvel, DC, or any cosmic entity shit from Marvel knows that it gets very wonky, it gets very preachy, and holy fuck, the way how this movie translated all that Jack Kirby shit into this adaptation was phenomenal. Like, what the fuck? We're talking about celestials. We're talking about how the earth was created. We're talking about how celestials being created. We're talking about these immortal humans that has lived for thousands of years. This movie is off the fucking chains. This felt so comic booky more than any fucking Marvel property. And for that, I give it tons of props for just having balls to just go for it. I'll also even say this. This movie makes the whole MCU and everything that's going on with the MCU completely irrelevant. All that shit about Thanos and the Infinity Stone, irrelevant. All that shit about Tony trying to be a better man, irrelevant. Captain America standing up for his friendship, irrelevant. Spider-Man and all his bullshit he's going through, sucking Tony Stark's dick, irrelevant. All that stuff is irrelevant compared to what the fuck the Eternals was doing. And so I praise the movie for that. Another positive I'll give about this movie is Chloe Zhao direction. You could clearly tell a director, she's a talented director, came in and just had a vision and was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna go get these actors, watch the sunrise, and shoot this shot right here. There's so many moments where this movie looks breathtakingly beautiful. Like, this movie should not look this fucking beautiful. This shit looks like a fucking National Geographic at points. There is one moment with a CG that she uses CG. It is the moment where one of the CS telling the Eternal about the creation of how galaxies are created and how celestials are created. And I was like, what the fuck? I was watching it and I was just like, wow, this is epic. Damn, Chloe Zhao. Like, the visual alone was just stunning. There's another scene where an Eternal is coming out of the fucking earth. And it just looks so beautiful. I was like, what the fuck? Like, holy shit. Third and final thing I'll talk about is characters. I thought the characters and the cast was pretty good for the most part. Even the ones that I'm not even in my top 5, I think everyone did pretty good job. I bought everybody. I bought the relationships. I enjoyed the characters enough to I hope I see them again. The standout characters was Athena, played by Angelina Jolie. I really enjoyed her because she reminded me a lot of Wonder Woman, in the sense of how very Amazonian warrior driven she is, and I really thought she was a badass throughout the whole movie. But what made me really connect with her was the mental illness. She's basically fucking a character that's going through dementia, if I'm not mistaken. Basically dementia, alien dementia. I'm like, whoa, she's literally a goddess or a god that has a mental illness. I found that so fascinating. That was such a fascinating thing to see. And there's one moment where she's in the middle of battle and she has an episode and she just starts attacking people. I was like, oh my goodness, this is fucking interesting. I want more of that shit. I want more exploring her time as being a human. Makari. You know I gotta put her on here because she's a speed character. I love speed characters, and all I gotta say, if that Flash movie ain't doing what she's doing, I don't want it. Every scene Makari's in and she's using her powers and she's just zipping around the screen was a blast for me. And also, she just seemed like the actress was just having a ball. Like, she just seemed very joyful, cheerful. I was enjoying every moment she was on screen. And also, shout outs that how diverse the cast was. Like throughout the whole movie, of course, even in real life, the actress is mute. And I thought she did a fine job. I connected with her, so I was just like, you must be doing something right, boo-boo, if I'm connecting with you. Druk, this guy played him so complex. The actor played him so complex. I was really enjoying this character. I really thought he brung his A game because on the surface you look at him and you're thinking, oh, he's a villain. but there's so much more to him. He really felt like a philosopher most of the time, questioning whether or not why should we not interfere with human shit. Like, his whole shit was so good and fascinating. His whole character is just a fascinating character because he has all the power in the world, but yet he doesn't act on it for the most part. Doesn't act with his ability of being able to control humans. And I just found his whole character just so fascinating. Last but not least, Icarus. Although Icarus' character at the beginning is very boring, near the end, I thought he was a very fascinating character. Very, very, very fascinating character. Because he reminds me of what if Superman only focused on the mission? What if Superman only never walked among the people and never interacted with people? I think that's a fascinating way at looking at flipping the script on a Superman-esque character that I don't think we've seen before. And I thought that was very fascinating by the end. And that's it. That's all the positives I have about this movie. Now, let's get into this negative and why I just think this movie is mid. It's fine. The main big problem with this movie is just not focused. It's not focused at all. It is like two different styles is clashing with each other. You have Chloe Zhao's style, which is trying to tell a bigger story about these immortal characters living on Earth and has seen the world grown and evolved throughout the time. You have Marvel Studio. And Marvel, in all intents and purposes, I love Marvel. But some of their shit can feel a little samey. Some of their shit can have a very formulaic shit. And I think it's fine for the most part, but when you start realizing it, it can get a little stale. And in this movie, I just felt like two tones were clashing. One minute, the movie wants to have a serious conversation about life and whatnot. Then the next minute, oh, we gotta throw in fucking a jokey character. So let's have Gungal, or the Bollywood Eternal, come in and throw in jokes. Because, you know, people are probably getting bored in the movie theater. So we gotta throw in lame-ass jokes. And I just was like, what? There's literally a dinner scene where these motherfuckers are sitting down eating. And they're sitting down eating and they're cracking jokes and trying to figure out who's going to be the next Avenger. And I'm just like, guys, we don't have fucking time for this shit. The world is literally about to explode. And you guys are literally talking about who's going to be the next Avenger and like making silly jokes. What the fuck are we doing here, bro? And then we have CGI monsters, and the CGI monster is not even convincing. It's supposed to be the main bad. The deviant is supposed to be the main bad, and I just could not root for this villain or understand his motives or anything other than I'm a big stupid CGI monster. And you know what's the sad part? He's being voiced by the clown from It, and I'm like, what? You have a talented actor like that playing the CGI monster and he gets no real depth or performance at all? Oh my goodness, what the fuck, Marvel? It's shit like this. It's like the movie wants to be bigger, but then you have the Marvel shit clashing with it, and it's just like, what the fuck? And it's like, then you have the human character that's following the Eternals halfway. The assistant character, I don't even remember his fucking name. He's useless, and it has this running gag about the camera, and I'm just like, guys, no one gives a fuck about the camera. This joke is not funny. It's not working. Come on, move the fuck on. No. Fuck this. Wasting precious time where we could spend that time filling out characters, and that's going to be my next complaint. Undeveloped characters explored plot threads. Like Makari. Makari is in the modern times, and it just seems like all she's done is just sit You mean to tell me all she's done is just collect shit and just sit in the fucking cave, in the fucking ship that they came in at the beginning of the movie? That's all she's done? Like, I would have loved to have the movie explore what is it like to be the fastest person in the world, but yet no one can keep up with you at all. Like, everyone's slow as fuck and you're the fastest thing alive. It's like they didn't know what to do with her character, so they just was like, hey, just stay in this fucking cave to shit for like 5,000 years. I'm like, what? This is baffling shit like this. It's like, what? Another character, fucking Fastos. I thought Fastos' backstory was really interesting of this guy who wanted to give technology to humanity, and I just was like so fascinated by that the simple fact that he, technically speaking, created the atom bomb, and he had so much guilt to the point where he was like, fuck humanity, I don't want nothing to do with them, I don't want to ever help them again. And I was like, that's fascinating. But then he gets a family, and it's like, when the fuck did you learn how to love humanity again to get to that point of having a kid and a husband? I'm like, I didn't get that. And then even still, I'm like, you never bring up none of the Eternals bring up the simple fact that, oh, you have a kid and you have a wife, or a husband. Eventually they're gonna die. How are you gonna cope with that? They never bring that part up. I just was like, what? That's some fascinating shit that you should be delving into. Movie doesn't want to delve into that. I'm like, all right, fine. And it's just shit like that all the time. It's like fucking Athena and her mental illness, like, bruh, and her relationship with another Eternal, Gilgamesh, like, that goes absolutely nowhere. He's just a tear caker. You don't get to see how dealing with a person who's basically at any moment can snap, how does that affect you? Nothing. And it's like, again, you have Angelina Jolie and you're doing nothing with her. You have a character named Sprite who literally is stuck in a kid's body but is the most intelligent person there, and yet you waste her doing this stupid love triangle that is absolutely meaningless, instead of exploring how does it feel for everyone to treat you like a kid, but yet you're the smartest person. It is shit like this that I'm just like, what the fuck? And don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on Kit Harington's character. Oh my god, bro. How do you waste Kit Harington, bro? But I know Marvel fans, they'll be like, we'll get him in the fucking Blade movie. We'll get him in another thing. And it's like, bro, I have no connection with this motherfucker. I have no connection. And I actually was so insulted because he's literally fucking an Eternal. There's literally a connection there that you could make. He should have been on this journey with these characters. He should have been the POV character. He should have been the surrogate, the audience surrogate character, instead of this fucking joke character with the fucking camera. Are you serious? Wasting fucking characters. I'll say is Druig's whole free will shit. He's throughout the whole movie he's talking about, you know, we should control humans, and that humans, you know, the debate on if humans should get free will. And he literally has his own slave camp, worship camp, and no one comments on that. No one dives into how fucked up that is, or the consequences of it, by the end of the movie, he just comes to the conclusion of, yeah, controlling human beings is wrong. Because what makes humans fascinating is that they make mistakes. And it's like, where did you come to that conclusion? I understand where you make that argument, but how do you get to that conclusion? It's like they started with an A, but they forgot to get to B and just skip to C. Like, what the fuck? Oh my god, this movie, bro. It's like, bruh. And as much as I'm praising this movie for being different and not being an MCU movie, I also have to give it slightly a negative of saying that it doesn't make you reevaluate the MCU. No, like, tie-ins to any of the other Marvel movies. Like, wouldn't it be cool if Icarus watch the situation of Avengers 2 Age of Ultron and is like, see, this is why humans don't need to be sacrificed so a new world can be created, because they just create their own misery. Or what about if, let's just say, any Eternal, Sprite, let's use her. The Battle of New York happens and Sprite fucking was there, and she couldn't absolutely do nothing but sees Iron Man and the team fight the Chitauri. Wouldn't that have been dope? Or better yet, you literally have a fucking Eternal by the name of Phastos who creates technology. Why is it, and I repeat, why the fuck couldn't you tie it into the not Winter Soldier, the first Captain America movie where he created or the creation of the Super Soldier suit? I don't know about you guys, but that would have been fucking kind of cool. I don't know. Or better yet, recent Marvel movie, Shang-Chi, the 10 Rings. Say Phastos created the 10 Rings, or had a hand at making the 10 Rings. Again, it's these moments where I'm just like, missed opportunity, bros. Bruh, this movie is just, I don't know. And then Infinity War, like, I get that they couldn't interfere with the stuff, but when the snap happened, you literally have a character, Cersei, who just loves humans for no fucking reason. I don't get it. The movie really doesn't dive into that. But Cersei loves humans. You could have had a moment where she watches her friends, her colleagues, or whatever, these humans she cares about, or better yet, she's dating Kit Harington's character, see him get dusted, and it breaks her. And it makes her decide, no, that humans are worth saving, because I lost the lover. I'm not gonna lose him again. Like, again, tying it all back to the MCU, it's like this movie doesn't try, bro. It's just such a baffling movie. And then my final nitpick, and then I'll just end this. The only nitpick I have is the fucking after credit scene. I think it's a little too vague. I understand after credit scenes are supposed to be a little vague, but that second one in particular is just super vague. That shit is literally super vague. It's like, the only way I was able to tell that character was Blade is because I know the actor's voice. But if you didn't know who was talking, you'd have been like, well, or if you don't follow comic book news, you wouldn't have known that was fucking Blade at the end of that shit. I don't know why they didn't just show a silhouette of Blade. I don't know. You have Mahershala Ali, bro. Like, just use that motherfucker, bro. Use him. That being said, despite all my problems with the movie, despite how I feel, I really did not walk out of this movie angry or upset or just pissed. I just walked out of the movie neutral. Just said, this was fine. It's not a horrible movie. I don't think it's the worst MCU movie by far. Whoever thinks this is the worst MCU movie clearly has not watched Thor: The Dark World, has not watched Captain Marvel, has not watched Spider-Man: Far From Home, has not watched Ant-Man and the Wasp. These generic Marvel movies that are just not fun, not interesting at all. You know, at least the movie had heart. At least it was trying to say something. It's very unfocused. And I think a lot of that has to do with Kevin Feige and just, the Marvel formula. And listen, guys, I understand people love Marvel. I love Marvel. But I just been failing lately. And even after watching Shang-Chi, and I love Shang-Chi, watch Shang-Chi, it is 10 times better than this movie, even though it follows the Marvel formula. It is really good. I've just been feeling as though Marvel has been a little formulaic, and we need more movies like Eternals that is gonna do new things, that is not gonna stick with the same old. And out of all the MCU movies, I would say so far, Eternals had to been the most unique experience I've had, next to, I want to say, maybe Loki and Shang-Chi. But out of all of them, I would give it up to Eternals for being the most unique. And what I'm hoping is that Kevin Feige will look at this and say, instead of saying, well, they didn't like it, well, we're never doing that again, look at it and be like, okay, let's see what went wrong. Okay, maybe we need to back off and let Chloe Zhao direct, because there was generally a good thing here, and I would like to see it continue. If we're not going to get a movie due to how poorly this movie was received, I would love a Disney Plus show exploring these characters, because I genuinely think these characters are interesting, and there's a whole Marvel timeline that you could explore with these characters, and that would be dope. I would only recommend this movie, however, to the hardcore Marvel MCU fans. If you watch every single Marvel movie, if you have watched and love all of them, I highly recommend it. If you are someone who loves the lore of the Marvel stuff, I would recommend this. However, if you're a casual fan who picks and dabbles into Marvel MCU stuff, I would not recommend this movie, because this movie is just unfocused as fuck. And unless you're really into the lore of this movie, you're gonna be bored out of your mind. And unless you connect with these characters, you're not gonna enjoy it all too much. And if you don't like the MCU, this isn't gonna change your mind all too much. So, with that being said, I'm just gonna leave this video here. If you're new to the channel, please comment, rate, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I got more videos coming. It might take a minute, but I got more shit coming. So hang in there. We'll talk soon. Bye.